Hey everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at question number 6 on area of triangles. It says find the unknown measurement for the triangle. And I just drew a triangle just so we could wrap our head around what's actually happening here. So in this case, they give us the area. See how it says square meters? We're going to substitute this value underneath the A. And obviously, first step is to write the formula down. So if you haven't already done that on your piece of paper, do that now. Make sure you label it as number 6. This number goes underneath the A because it's the area. We bring down the constant, which is half, and they're telling us the height. What we don't know is the base. So we know the length of this line, but we don't know the length of this line. So we'll substitute this underneath the letter H, and we'll put in the letter B for what we're looking for, which is the base. All right, so the next step is to simplify this. Half of 12. Now we should be able to take half of 12 in our head, and that would be 6. Half of 12 is 6. That's the same thing, by the way, as 12 divided by 2. So let's write that down. This divided by this is 6. And let's write everything left that we have, which is we're multiplying 6 with b, and let's bring down the 63. All right, so in class we've talked a little bit about how do you solve algebra problems like this. This means that 6 times some number is going to equal 63. Now, some of you might recognize the fact that 6 is not a factor of 63. So that means we're not going to have a whole number answer. We're going to have a fraction or decimal answer. So on both sides of the equation, what are we doing? We're dividing by 6 because the opposite of multiply a variable by 6 is to divide it by 6. We're applying the inverse operation, we call that. And in class, we've talked about how this simplifies. If we did 6 divided by 6, it would equal 1. And 1 times b would be b. So usually we put a line through it like that and just bring down the b to show that process. All right, now if we have to do the standard algorithm, we would do the numerator divided by the denominator. 6 goes into 6 once. Make sure you're writing all this down on your piece of paper, by the way. We get nothing left over. Bring down the 3. 6 goes into 3 0 times, and 6 times 0 is 0. And we subtract and get the 3 left over. So 3 is going to be the numerator, and 6 is going to be the denominator, and the only thing left to do is to simplify that. So that's 10 and a half. But 10 and a half what? It would be 10 and a half meters. 10 and a half meters, not square meters, because this is a straight line and can be represented with a piece of string. Now, what if we were allowed to use a calculator? Let me take out my calculator. If we, at this point, when we were at this point, instead of doing this red algorithm for the division, if we're allowed to use a calculator, I just want to make sure everybody knows how to do that. We would do 63, so that's taking this number right here. The fraction bar means divide, so we'd hit divided by, and then this number, 6. And we end up getting the equivalent of 10 and a half, which is 10 and 5/10. All right, but again, remember it is meters. Now, when you enter this into the form, so let me move this out of the way. When you enter this into the form, I just want to remind you of a couple things. At the top, see if it has any reminders about this. I want to remind you about formatting. So when you enter this, there's only so many ways that this can be programmed to accept answers. And one of the things that it won't accept is if you don't put a space between the number and the unit. So make sure you do that. Do not, just leave no space between it because it probably mark you wrong. If you get what I call dinged for bad formatting and you actually have the right answer, make sure you email me to let me know.